So turn off your television sets. Turn them off now. Turn them off right now. Turn them off and leave them off. Turn them off right in the middle of the sentence I'm speaking to you now. Turn them off.
Hello, everybody. It is McDeedis, and I have with me the beautiful Helen to talk about episode 7 of Run the World, A Raging Harlem. See, I remember the name of it. I just remember the episode number. I can't do both because, once I start getting paid for this, maybe
we'll remember things like names that aren't Patrick.
On this lovely day.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
What are your burning questions before we even start? There are two we always ask. Here are two
burning questions. What is Sandy wearing?
And
what is Whitney's problem? What is her problem? Because every scene that begins with her is like, what? Why?
Every week. And it's why. And we were right. It is A Raging Harlem, episode 7, which means there's only one left. What a season. How fast. It just kind of flew by. General impressions about the episode before we jump in? Because we got things to say.
I like it. Shout out, and I stand with y'all, to all the writers that are on strike right now. Because y'all wrote this episode. I giggled a few times.
It was a good one. I enjoyed it for what it was, obviously. It just felt fun. The rest of them have kind of been downers a little bit, not in a bad way. It's kind of like a thing where you don't realize how sad or how kind of like they've been until you get one that's a little more upbeat or just silly or just kind of off kilter or whatever it is that we're doing at the season. So I'm happy that we had this one. We will jump right in. We start. The first thing I said is, really, Whitney?
A matchmaker.
A matchmaker. Now, the issue with her having a matchmaker to me is not the fact that she wants to be in a relationship. I can tell she's a relationship girl. Everybody knows this. You can just see it about her. But because she's a relationship girl, that makes this even more dumb because she definitely, absolutely 100% needs to heal before she does anything else. Like she needs to. And a lot of people would say, I guess, well, she's the one that blew up the relationship and blah, 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 blah. And I think she meant to blow up the relationship. I don't think she really understood what that meant. Right. So I think there is a part of her that is not sad for what she did, because it kind of needed to happen. But I do think that she still very much wanted the life that she's not going to have now with Ola.
Well, allegedly. But
according to him, but
I agree. I think the matchmaker is a step too far. One, because she has so many deal breakers. I guess super picky people would go to a matchmaker, but like the lady said, no doctors. Like, you don't want a doctor because your ex is a doctor. Like, that's what we doing. Seems silly. Like
it is silly.
It's so silly. Like, like one doctor, and it wasn't like he did you wrong. You did him wrong, sis. Like, but maybe she learned. Maybe, and this is me hoping and praying for Whitney again. Maybe she learned that's not the type of lifestyle she wants. Maybe.
Fair. Because that is a profession that is demanding of a partner, I would think. Because if I base it off what I have seen on television, because I'm trying to think if I know any doctors personally, and I do, but I don't see them day to day. Like the doctors that I know aren't super close to me. There's nobody in my immediate circle that is a doctor. Now I do know a nurse, but she has time. Like and this is not, and I know doctors and nurses aren't the same. So please, but nurses are a big deal. They do a lot. And in her particular profession, I'm gonna brag on her right quick because I love her. She's head of a department at the hospital. So she does a lot of work. I'm saying that to say she still has free time for us. So they're like family events and that type of thing. that I see for us, but I see her twice a quarter, once a quarter. I don't know what that lifestyle is like for the people who live in her house, right? So
Right.
where it looks as if, oh, well, he's not at the hospital all the time, it's not a big deal. It may be because she's the one that has to be with him daily.
Right. And he's at the beginning of his career, right? He's a resident. So he like basically lives at the hospital. That's what residency means. It means you live like pretty.
Well, he said started shift, so I can't remember. Like how long does it take? You know doctors like because they're 30, right? Are they
Yeah, he ain't
30?
done. He's a
Yeah,
resident
so
probably.
okay.
But I mean, obviously that people don't live in the hospitals anymore. Like, well, probably in some places, but I don't think it's that heavy anymore. But it used to be that you basically lived there. Both of my parents, they're not medical doctors, like MD in a hospital, but both of my parents are doctors, and even what they do is demanding. My mom didn't get her PhD until 94, 3. I was old enough to remember when she got it. So it's a lot of work, and it takes a toll on the family. So I get why maybe Whitney didn't want to go with another doctor. I get it, I guess. But the rest of her list was also ridiculous. So
I don't. I still think that's too silly because it's like saying I don't want to date a musician. I don't want to date a
right. Because
teacher.
every doctor experience is not going to be the same. It could be a well-established doctor. He could be a plastic surgeon who only takes
family medicine.
The biggest of clients. Right. Like, yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah. Now she could say I don't want an emergency doctor. I don't want a surgeon. Right. I don't want but we're talking Whitney here. So we won't harp on it too much longer. But I will say the good thing from it is that the lady told her, instead of focusing on what you don't want, let's focus on what you do. And I think that's very important because some people might look at it as settling, but it's not. It's compromise. And as a person, sometimes you have to compromise one thing for another. I may have wanted a man that's 6'7". I didn't want to date anybody because to me that's freakishly tall, 5'4.5". But I find this man who's everything else, and then he's 6'2", right? That's just silly. It's just silly because it's just something that's on a list for the sake of it being on the list. And I think that's Whitney's problem. She's just got these, and Hope told her the same thing pretty much. You've got these ideas that you may need to let go. Now, if I say I don't want a man with a dangly earring, I mean it. That's just where I'm at in life. I don't want it. If you wear a dangly earring, sorry.
Sorry to that man. But I think it goes along with the kind of recurring theme in this episode for sure. About Whitney and the way she is, because when let me check my notes, Philip is trying to get her out of her comfort zone. I didn't like it. First of all, we're gonna go back to the whole how he got here, but when he was taking her through the art gallery and telling her straight up how boring she was, basically, that kind of connected back into the fact that she's just stuck in her ways and she's going to be this way because she thinks she should. Not necessarily because she wants to. And that was kind of a light and funny way to show us she gonna be this way and she gonna keep being this way. Even if somebody blatantly looks her in her face and says, hey, I think you're boring. And she's like, I don't care.
And we said that last week that if that's who she is, stick with it. So I'm proud of her for that. Philip, though, I agree with you because he had it was weird for me with him because there were moments where I saw what he was trying to do and how he was going about it. And then I was like, but did you have to say it like that? Because if your house, Helen, that you've gotten is great and I see it and I see potential, I'm like, man, you could really, really maximize the space if you would consider doing this. Let's just think about doing this. That's one way to say it.
Right.
Versus, girl, you ain't gonna paint none of these walls. This is bland, gray house. This is terrible. Like, who are you to tell me what I want in my house? He was pretty much like like you say, you're boring and your personal style is great. So your house needs to reflect your personal style. That was what he said. That's what the compliment I liked when he told her, I brought you out just so I could be seen with you. That's a bar. That's cute. But you shouldn't worry about what my house looks like because one, you don't live here. And two, if you and I decide to be together, then we probably buy something else. So you don't have to, again, worry about living here. So It is what it is. And that painting was ugly. I thought it was ugly when I saw it, but I thought I am just not a cultured person who appreciates art, and I didn't get it. That's why I was so happy when they were like, ew. I was like, oh, okay, I'm not that bad. Because that painting
It was a latex glove on top of a painted hand. Like, what?
I don't know. And if it meant something to somebody, maybe, but as a statement piece in your home,
No.
I'd rather get he ain't heavy like all our forefathers and mothers before. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what he ain't heavy is. Don't act like y'all don't know the painting. Y'all know it. But or the footprints. What was one of the footprints in the sand? It was when I carried you. Of course it was Philip though. If she's gonna be matched with someone, it would be Philip. I was happy that she was like, you want to go back to the crib, because I'm like, well, maybe this isn't her falling into love, but her still vetting the people that she decides to spend her time and share her body and whatever else with. She still wants, people that are worthy of her time and her whatever
Right.
else.
I don't think she wants to jump into something stupid. But also I think that's not a thing that boring, uptight, that's what he called her, uptight Whitney would do,
Uptight. She is uptight.
So she is. And she's
I wouldn't have called her that.
She definitely is. But I think I want her to do something silly, not something stupid, something silly. I want her to. She needs it.
They sucked me in, but we'll get to it later. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but I guess being with Philip for that one day was kind of silly. Like for her, it was a random, kind of off day, and then the whole EpiPen scenario.
Yeah, him popping up at our house wasn't cool though. I didn't like that.
That was not. I didn't like it either.
Outkast has told us and taught us,
call
before you come. Don't just pop up over out the blue.
Out the blue.
I hope that you will too. Everybody needs a Renee, because when Sandy was being practical and saying this isn't the time, you shouldn't be in a relationship, it's too much. Renee was like, hey, are you happy? Cool. Let's move on. Like, what's the next topic? Back to me. And it wasn't a back to me like this is stupid we're talking about. It was like, hey, right. Whitney's happy. Let's let her be happy. But back to me. Jason. You called it. I will give you credit. I was hoping you were wrong, of course, because we all know how I feel about Jason. And you said that, and for those who didn't watch, you should go back and watch. But if you missed it, Helen said that Jason seemed a bit soured about them because of her being at what Jason called it, that Clearport, being at the private, going to a private plane. And when I say soured, I don't mean in a, oh, she's ruined, I can't be with her way. Just kind of like, oh, well, damn, this relationship is probably for real over. Like, she's moved on. And there's nothing that can make you move on more than knowing that somebody else doesn't want you anymore, at least for me. And I'm thinking that's kind of what you saw, maybe?
That's what I saw. And now with him sliding her the spy folder, I think he did it because that's what she wanted. So yes, I feel like he felt like what he said when he gave her the folder was, I think it's time we both had a fresh start, or we both deserve a fresh start, or something like that. I think he did it because he felt like that's what she wanted. So now she is looking at the folder like, damn, this is what you want because you went ahead and did it, and she's not going to tell him how she feels.
And I hate it. That was my next question. Do you think she was going to tell him? You don't think so? You think she's going to sign it?
Because he played it well. In that regard, I think it was silly and dumb. No, it was dumb. It was dumb on her part to break up with Preston without first having spoken with Jason. And this is not me wanting to have my cake and eat it too. It's just that I understand how other people react the way that Preston did when you break up with them. And to go back and say, oh, well, he filed for divorce, let's still be together. That don't work like that. So now that
makes you an option.
Right. And you still would have been an option, but you just didn't know that yet. And that's the
Knowledge.
part. Knowing is what will kill you every time.
Give me the apple, Eve. I am blissfully ignorant. I
Blissfully.
don't want to know what he knows. I want to stay down here and name random things. Don't give it to me. By the
Because
way, I'm not blaming Eve
it
because
is your
Adam knew what was
prerogative.
going to happen.
You know, it is your prerogative to change your mind, right? Like, it's surely and truly. And yes, she does love and like and, you know, could see herself with either of these men, but you made it final when you said we have to break up.
And for the record, Preston handled it in a very childish manner. And I probably would have reacted in the very same manner. I'm just going to keep it 100. I probably would have been like, all right, then, well, go on. You know what I'm saying? You want to be with your husband? Go be with your husband. Can you come? No, you can't come no more. No. And I wish I hadn't sent you Cardi B's number either.
Well, she said, can I call
But
Cardi? And he said, hell no.
Yeah, be happy. No. I mean, you can call her. I'm going to tell her not to answer.
Right.
Yeah,
he handled it really childishly, but for a moment, I thought he was going to be mature. I thought it for 1 second because he said, I will be okay. And he said, no, you know what? I am okay. And I thought he was just going to leave.
Baby. But I'm Preston. I'm cool. I'm all right. This little thing. I mean, we was just kicking it, right?
Right. We was just kicking. This wasn't nothing serious.
This ain't no love thing. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't no love thing.
You up. And that kind of made me mad because he was like, I was just trying to help you out. Like, sir, don't do me no favors.
Yeah. He was hurt. His feelings hurt.
Him feelings was hurt. I'm mad we both put that in the notes.
Yeah, I know, right? But I'm saying, okay, so we skipped over the painting part because I was thinking, so everybody just got a rich man because all of a sudden this painting is $5,000. Now, $5,000 is a lot of money for somebody that you've been on one date with. It's $5,000 anyway. It's a lot of money anyway, right. But it's definitely a lot of money for somebody you went on one date with. Oh, and they did have sex. I'll give her that. But like, still,
but they knew each other in college. They were in a study group together.
And if he got it, you know, they say it ain't tricking. It's still tricking, by the way. But I'm cool with it. Like, if you have it and you want to spend it and you want to give it to her, then do it. Hey, you know, they say you can't take it with you.
I think it was exactly. I think it was kind of a nod back to the $5,000 that she spent to be with the matchmaker. But then my thought was, didn't he do the same? Didn't y'all both spend $5,000 to be on the matchmakers list, or is that not how it works?
Well, yeah, because the way it works, this is me from going back to my millionaire matchmaker days with Patty. The women didn't pay. Now I don't know if the women matchmakers also didn't pay, but I know the women. I think she said the women didn't pay. The women don't pay, but that was Patty. This was a black lady who was somebody else.
Said she paid.
Oh, well, there you go.
She said, I would spend $5,000 to be matched with somebody I already knew.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So maybe he didn't pay the $5,000 to the matchmaker. Like maybe she has a list of eligibles that possibly maybe that was the case, and he just felt like, well, now we're even for the $5,000. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of here's it back.
Making it an organic type thing versus you paid to be with me type thing. Okay, like leave the money on the dresser type thing.
Right.
Sandy / Jasmine was not my favorite person this episode, and it's not because of Matthew. Like I do think she's delusional. And I'm glad Matthew handled it the way he did. I just am. Like, I know some people would say, well, he just needs to get over it and whatever else, but I think that's fake because there's no way you can be into somebody or love somebody to the point where you're about to marry them and make them a part of your already made family, bring them around your daughter, have them be the stepmother to your daughter, and then just be over it. Right? Like Sandy being over it, sure, because again, a lot of times people break up long before they actually do it. So Sandy probably mentally checked out a while ago, and it seems like she did. Like the whole apartment thing probably means more than we thought at the time. But Matthew really thought they were in a committed relationship. This is where it was going. This is where his life was going to be. So for her to drop a bomb on him like that, I would be the same way. So the way he reacted again, and the way Preston reacted made perfect sense to me.
Absolutely.
And I honestly think Matthews was way more mature because he's just like, hey, yeah, no, we're not good. Why would we be good? No, the birthday party was a little petty, but I get that too. I wouldn't want to be soaking around my daughter's party.
No, but I think he could also suck it up for his daughter's party, especially since she really wants her to be there.
He probably will.
Probably, because I hope she shows up. Because I guess, it's the season finale, so it has to be a party, a wedding, or a baby, right? So
I hope nobody's pregnant though. Ooh, what if Renee is pregnant?
Shut up. With $1 Million Baby?
It could be either one. Remember,
Renee
she had sex with Jason. She had sex with Jason right before he left for Atlanta.
Before he left.
And then she had sex with Preston repeatedly. So
I
would hope she's not. It's just so cliche. Like, it would be so cliche if she's pregnant. But
and if this episode's writing is an indication of the finale, I'm ready for it because I felt it. Like when you said you have walls, I died because he meant the walls in the house, but also maybe he did.
Or they said double Andre.
Double Andre.
That was definitely a double entendre, y'all. Because I mean, like,
it was.
Because what else would he say it?
Because why would you say I don't have a headboard yet, girl? He's already inside of you.
Who cares? Who cares? We're actually happy because we ain't got to worry about the noise. Okay, on to other things. Back to Jasmine. She gave that boy Whitney's number. I would have been pissed. And I know it might be a thing that they do. Girl, don't give nobody my number. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, even if you're just trying to vet him, don't vet him through me. This is my real number. So if he's a stalker, I got to change my number. At least. Well, I got to block him or something. But I mean, it could get dangerous for you girl out here. I don't know. But she's looks like she was entertaining it a little bit, or the thought of it, maybe. I mean, she was about to watch his documentary during the party.
I saw it before then when he was still in the library, standing in front of her, and she was kind of playing like, don't tell me what to do.
She was eye-boning that man for sure.
Yeah, and he wasn't even cute for sure. But and he looked mad.
He's a nice looking man.
And he's
nice looking man. I like him. I like his face. Does something for me. But I've seen him in other things, so I think I just relate that to that too. He reminds me of he does look young. He probably is though. He probably is young. I could see it. They were doing coke in the bathroom. Whitney was a horrible, no good, terrible, very bad hostess. She was
the worst.
Awful. If you don't want people in your house, don't invite them in your house. Like it's really that simple. And if you're going to have people in your house, you should be hospitable. And she was not at all. Well, them damn nuts.
She told that lady, first of all, the fact that he was the only one there with a nut allergy is surprising to me.
Really amazing.
Maybe he was just the only one who was that severe. It's probably the particles from all these nut bowls.
That's a bunch of nut bowls. Nut bowls everywhere. But the best part of the show was the fact that she called that man Lazarus. Thank goodness Barb was there, because I want her in it. I don't care if it doesn't make sense for her to be. I don't care. I just want her in every episode. The way they have been inviting her and having her around though makes sense, and I'm cool with that. But even if she just popped up out of nowhere, I still wouldn't care. Because I mean, they keep having Ola pop up in random places. Why not Barb too?
Why not Barb? Because we don't want Ola to pop up in random places. And
okay, so
to me, it feels like what I said last week, that he's trying to right back over because he's seen the other fish in the sea and realizes that Whitney simply made a mistake.
He don't want to be out there. What are your thoughts though with that? How do you feel about them reconciling?
No.
You still against it? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Because okay, I am against it. However, if it happened, this is going to make me sound like a cheater apologist, and I'm not necessarily. However, I feel like Whitney should have terms in this reconciliation. Like Ola, of course, like obviously, let's not do any more cheating, please. But I feel like Whitney should have some terms and conditions too, because it wasn't just the cheating. It was the reaction. It was the thereafter. It was the the words that were said to each other, the things that he said to her, the things that she said to him, they got to get through all of that, like, to get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want them to skip over any of that. If they get
That's
back together.
fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Because of course I am anti-cheating like most people are. And by cheating, of course, I mean you have gone beyond the boundaries of the relationship, right? So this doesn't mean I am anti whatever you want, or if you're not monogamous in your relationship, if you have agreed upon terms. Like I don't have anything to do with that because I don't care. It's you and your people. But cheating though is the bad thing because it's deception, right? So I'm anti-deception. However, I am 100% a person that says if you forgive somebody, you have to let it go. Right. So if he forgives her, that means they are now on equal footing in the relationship if they decide to start again. So I'm 100% with you. If there are things that she has boundaries or deal breakers or new rules or whatever else, she has a right to say, this is how I feel. Ola doesn't just get to come back to the relationship as himself and say, well, I didn't do anything wrong. So no, this is a fresh relationship. So we starting over. And this is what so I'm with you. Yeah, I agree with you. 1000%. I do think that was nice of him to stop by and give her the first aid kit. Because surely he wanted to see the house. Like he wanted to see the condo. 100%.
My first thought was, is this not a HIPAA violation?
It has to be,
on
right?
the EMT's part.
I was like,
I mean, nobody's gonna find out or file a complaint. Like he said, one of my EMT friends.
He said what I'm telling me here.
Like, sir. And I mean, obviously, it's not gonna get reported. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like you're close enough to the party and the situation that it doesn't matter. Like, but
because they could always say, well, Renee called me or Sandy called me or somebody else. They can deny it. Deny. You know? If he got in trouble. And I'm sure one of them would be like, oh, no, to keep him out of trouble, I'm saying. But it is 100% a HIPAA violation, right? Like for the real HIPAA, that's real.
EMTs cannot say, I just left this person's house.
Especially your ex-wife. I mean, your ex-fiance. Yeah, it could have been bad.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's weird to me that my mind still works that way. I haven't
had a
job in healthcare in 5 years.
It's in you. The funniest thing though was the fact that old boy was selling coke in what else was he selling? Coke and something
in college.
Coke
and pills, Adderall.
Because when the dude said, "Where's your bathroom?" I said, "Oh, they're totally going to do coke in the bathroom." That's the first thing I thought of. You know, all the girls standing in line for the bathroom. And then Barb had to tell her, "There's nothing good about 3 guys going to the bathroom at the same time because why would you do that?"
This is Whitney.
Why would you do that? Like, if more than one girl, and I am a girl, go to the bathroom at the same time, I would probably still assume they're doing drugs, even though I know women go to the bathroom together all the time.
Right. I wouldn't think anything of it because women go to the bathroom all the time. But if 2 or more men go to the bathroom at the same time, if one of those men is not a minor, you're doing drugs in the bathroom.
I'm doing drugs in there. I'm thinking specifically coke too, like
specifically cocaine. Y'all are doing lines.
That is my thought.
No, y'all are doing everybody's thought.
Are we writing? Okay, so we know that Matthew always will have a place because he and Sandy work at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Are we writing him off though? Because it feels like they have her interested in this new guy. I'm not saying it's going to be her guy. But like the way she was showing interest in him and how she was so almost receptive to him coming on to her in a way. And I mean, it always feels nice. I'm not trying to say anything about that, but it just feels like she would be okay with moving on. Does that mean that they're setting us up for her to just be like, oh, that's kind of it. Like, I'm done.
That I don't know. That I'm not sure. I hope not. I like looking at Matthew. But when he said, and it just warmed my heart because we stand a mature king. He said, obviously, at some point you fell out of love with me or you stopped loving me. And that's fine, right? These things happen. One, she didn't. But 2, then he was like, but I still in love with you. And I was like, Matthew, don't do this. And she didn't. So I always watch Sandy closely because a lot of her story is in her facial expressions, right? A lot of her stuff is in how she looks at people, which is why I thought she was flirting with that little boy, because she was really like, she was giving the, I'm older than you, I'm grown, but yeah, here, little boy, but
don't tell me what to do. It's always
Matthew,
flirting.
it's always flirting. Take it from me. I know. Don't ask me how, just know. So when Matthew was telling her, I'm still in love with you, and she didn't pull back, she didn't make a face, she just kind of stood there and absorbed it, I was like, don't be realizing, sis, that you still love this man. But also, I mean, she can. I don't mind if they get that together. They're probably the only ones I know.
I don't see them, the ones I don't want together. I just and I know it's me, because I guess the other 2 had a reason to break up with their man, so it makes sense. And again, she doesn't have to have a reason. And I'm so glad, like you said before, that Matthew is mature enough to even say that, because she got snappy with him, which pissed me off. It did. Oh, well, was that supposed to be the reason I stayed with you? He was like, no, you're supposed to stay with me because you love me. But since you don't, at some point you realize you don't, then fine. And I'm like, okay. This is the way you do it. But I'm like you, it's like, but when did it happen? Like, when did you just decide you just don't love him anymore? And if it's not that, which is fine, because she could still love him and not want to be with him, then it has to be more than that podcast. And I don't know. Like you said, maybe it's just because he's established and she's not ready to be.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just that
Matthew,
she doesn't know, or like you said, she's not ready to be Mrs. Matthews. She doesn't know if the life that he has, which is the one that I assume he wants to keep because it's the one he's made, is the one that she wants for the rest of her life. And that's fine. But you gotta say this is.
And don't have it. Like, you could very much not have that life. But her, I guess, the only thing I think that I wouldn't have done if I were Matthew, if I saw her walking away, I would not have called out to her. I would just let her leave. Like, but I guess he was calling her to uninvite her from the party.
Yeah, to uninvite her from the party.
It's so petty, but I get it. I think she's gonna show up at the party because I feel like we need to see Naomi and Amari in their element. And I think that might make her feel some kind of way. Because now she's not going to be able to say anything, because before, she was annoyed with the whole desserts thing, which was well within her rights, because I was annoyed by it too. But now she's not going to be able to say anything at all because you're no longer her guardian or her whatever. So you have no say in what she does anymore, which is crazy because she did for so long.
And so, like a week ago.
Yeah, it was like it just happened. So, have we seen the last of Preston, or is Renee gonna try to circle the block?
I think we get Preston for maybe a couple more scenes.
You think it's gonna be one of those things where he's like, I overreacted. Of course, you can still call Cardi.
It can't be everybody, right? Everybody can't spin the block, right? Like,
they can, but I don't want them to. But I mean, they can.
But I don't want them to. Like, everybody can't react badly, and I think that's my thing, is because yes, sometimes a bad reaction is forgivable or understandable, but that doesn't mean you have to have the bad reaction every time. Sometimes at some point you have to be an adult and react better. And I know y'all are gonna hate me in the comments and out there on the internet when I say be better, react as the bigger person. Sometimes try it out. And that would clear up a whole lot of misunderstanding in your lives.
I'm on the fence. Sometimes, I mean,
you are on the fence.
You're right. No, I'm not saying that you're incorrect. You should, as adults, we should search to be better. However, sometimes I don't want to be. And I'm just not going to be. And
that's fine. But you know that you're burning those bridges, and you
but know thyself. There you go. Like I
Right.
know that this is immature. I know that it's petty. I'm choosing to do it anyway. That's what I'm saying. You are right about not doing it because it is small or petty or whatever. But I just yeah, sometimes you got to do
I mean,
it.
there's always a place to be petty. I'm not gonna say that
Yeah.
I'm not ever petty. There's always a place, but in in the relationships in your life where you want them, I
Value
would
them.
think where you value them, I would
Mhm.
think that you would choose to take a moment to yourself before you react harshly and just don't.
Yeah, yeah. There has to be a space for the people you love for you to say, "All right, I know," because you can't unsay things, and you have
Right.
to think about that before you explode. Because that is one truth that I stand by. Once it's said, it's out there, and no apologizing or whatever else is going to take that thing back. You can be forgiven, but it can't be unsaid, and it's always going to be there. So
Right.
you do have to choose your words carefully. Again, unless you just don't care. It's just like,
Unless you don't
well,
care.
whatever. We're done. This
But
is
it
how I
seems
feel
to
in the
me
moment.
all of these people care about the relationships that they're just blowing up on, and it's silly to me.
That's true. It does seem like every last one of them care. Jason handled it with care though, and that's the scary part
Did that photo for
because
like
the
a
ones
spot?
that are handled, yeah, the ones that are handled with care are usually the ones that are really done, and
I'm sorry.
only because they still love each other. That's really why I want them to work because they actually like and love each other. She's just mad at him, and now he's done because she thinks she's done, and they're not gonna be like, well, I don't want to be done anymore. Although I hope she does. No, her
I
pride
hope
might
she
not let
does.
her,
I
but
hope she, all look, all of that spilling and wearing my heart on my sleeve and in these fashions Renee has given us over these last 2 seasons. She better say something to that man.
I
Look,
hope she
you better
does.
say something
Fingers
to him.
crossed. Yeah. Well, we got till next week to find out. Any last words for this episode?
4 walls.
Or walls. Everybody should have walls because you do. Everybody has walls. Everybody. You all have walls. And
Everybody.
take care of them, treat them well.
Take care of
That's
your
all I
walls.
got, y'all.
Decorate them.
Hopefully next week will be as fun as this episode was. But we'll see then. Thanks for listening, watching, liking, subscribing, commenting. Give Helen hell in her comments, YouTube comments too. She's there on Twitter. I am here on Twitter if it still exists, whatever.
I mean, or the 17 new platforms that we
Yeah,
have.
whichever one.
If you
We're
can't
all we're
find
out
me at
here,
this name, throw a 3 on the end of it and you'll find me.
and you'll find her. Until next time, please be safe. Love, peace, soul.